All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us about 24 hours early than our normal slotted time. It's our business meeting. It's June 5th, 2023. The time is 2:01 p.m. I'm calling this meeting to order, and if you would please join me in a moment of silence. Okay. Let's see. Marcia, would you lead us in the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda? We're pulling item 8. Is there any other changes that anybody needs? Okay.
Or what? Which number?
Item 8.
8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. We can go ahead and I would take a motion for approval of meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes, item 1.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Motion passes. And consent calendar, please.
I move that we approve the consent calendars, items 2 through 6.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Motion passes. And now item 7, payables.
I move that we approve the payables list for May 29 through June 2, 2023 in the amount of $1,124,341.19 and $5,180.99 in jury panel payments.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Item 9, grant application. This is for our Kootenai County Public Transportation. It's the Section 5307 fixed route and para operations with our FTA grant in the amount of $1,129,554 and in-kind match of $816,326. Chad, are you on the line?
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. Chad Engel with RMO for the record, and we are requesting your authorization to submit an application in order to program our allocation of 5307 funds for the projects listed on that application.
Okay, questions for Chad?
No questions.
All right, and this, you got the match sheet.
I got an additional sheet too.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that might be it.
Okay. Yeah.
I have one with the headings, yeah.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Motion, please.
I move that we approve grant application for Kootenai County Public Transportation, Section 5306, fixed route and para operations with the Federal Transit Administration in the amount of $1,125,554 with an in-kind match of $816,326.
And that's section 5307, and I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Item 10, Kootenai County Public Transportation Festival Agreement with Post Falls Parks and Recreation. Chad again?
Yes, thank you again. Chad Engel with RMO for the record. We are seeking approval to provide transportation for the public going to the Post Falls Festival. This is being put on by the Post Falls Parks and Recreation Department, and this agreement has been reviewed and approved by legal.
So this is a new agreement. Have we done something like this in the past?
This is a new agreement. We have done something similar, but a little bit different than this in the past. It wasn't with Post Falls. It was with Coeur d'Alene at one point, but yes, we have done something similar.
Okay, and do we do something like this for the fair operation?
The fair operations do fall on our fixed route, and we have done advertisements and things towards that as well.
Okay, but this is kind of a separate issue, different stops off of our route?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Questions for Chad?
No.
All right, motion?
I move that we approve the Kootenai County Public Transportation Festival Agreement with Post Falls Parks and Rec with
I
Armo.
second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Item 11, grant award number WW24-1-28-1, and this is the grant award and agreement for the Spokane Point dock replacement and the Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation. The amount is $116,320, and the cash match is $37,000. Oh dear, no. This is cash match from funds 37 and 38 in the amount of $50,000 with Parks and Waterways. Mr. Snyder, are you on the line? Uh-oh. Maybe somebody didn't get the memo that we're 24 hours early. Okay, so that's on number 11 and 12.
Yeah.
We can go ahead and approve both of these, obviously separately, unless you want me to try to call him and see if he's on the phone.
I don't have any questions. Commissioner Brooks?
No, just go ahead.
Okay, then I would take a motion, please.
I move that we approve grant award WW24-1-28-1 grant award and an agreement for Spokane Point dock replacement and the Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation for $116,000, $116,320,000, and a cash match with KC funds 37 and 38 for $50,000 for Parks and Waterways.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, all right, motion carries. And item number 12. This is a grant closeout, WW22-1-28-1, and this is a Waterways Improvement Fund for the Kootenai Parks workboat replacement with the Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation in the amount of $350,000. And the cash match was from Fund 35 in the amount of $175,000. And once again, just, Nick, have you joined us? Okay. Any questions on this one?
No.
So my only question would be, did they unwrap the boat? Because it was pretty much supposed to be here Friday. But without Mr. Snyder on the phone, I would take a motion unless you've got questions, Bill. Okay.
I move that we approve the grant closeout, number WW22-1-28-1, from the Waterways Improvement Fund with Kootenai Parks workboat replacement, Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation, in the amount of $350,000 with a cash match from Fund 35 of $175,000 with Parks and Waterway.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, all right, motion passes, thank you. Item 13, this is a subscriber agreement for public safety testing with Public Safety Testing, Inc. and our Sheriff's Office. Marcia.
Hi, Marcia Higley with the Sheriff's Office for the record. Before you, you should have a subscriber agreement for public safety testing. As you know, applications and our recruitment process have been really rather lagging as of the last couple of years. We have had success in the past with public safety testing and would like to give them a try again. We know that Coeur d'Alene City has switched to them and they've done very well doing that as well. They host local testings monthly in Spokane, and we can also request to have them brought over into Kootenai County area as well. They also allow for online testing and off-site location testing nationwide. We feel that this is probably something that will assist us in our recruiting efforts. They proctor both the written and the physical agility test for us.
Okay. Let's see, how do I phrase my question? do we determine, or does the sheriff determine what passing level, or do they determine what is passing?
They have a set determination.
Okay,
So, and we've used them in the past, and it's run in line with what we would accept for approving. And same with the physical agility test. They administer a test that is very similar to ours.
okay.
So, and this would just be for entry-level candidates only because we are testing our laterals differently.
Separately. Sure. Okay, questions?
No questions.
There would be no financial impact as we have the money in our recruiting budget currently.
Sure. All right, then, motion.
I move that we approve subscriber agreement with Public Safety Testing and Water Safety Testing, Inc., with the Sheriff's Office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes, and this is item 14. This is an advisory board appointment, Dr. Duke Johnson, Panhandle Health Board. So we opened it up to people in the community to see if there was anybody willing to serve on the Panhandle Health Board, and we got one application, which is our elected coroner, Dr. Duke Johnson. He did interview for the position a couple years ago where we had selected Dr. Jameson instead. This particular spot is for an MD, which Dr. Johnson is. So this would have been on today's status update, but it's on this meeting today. So discussion?
The fact that we've got one application, one person of interest out of all of Kootenai County kind of disturbs me, and I think we should put it out there for a little longer with a little wider spread on soliciting people who want to be on this board. We do that usually when we only have one of something, and I don't think they should be any different.
Bruce?
Generally, I would agree with you. Generally. The reason in this particular situation why I would not is because people that we put on the board, we want to make sure that they have sound reasoning and will think about the community as a whole when they make a decision. And I'm comfortable with the fact that Dr. Duke would do those two things for us by being appointed onto this board. So I'm okay with just having him as the single applicant.
Yeah. I agree on this time as well for two reasons. Number one, we did interview him before, and number two, he's an elected official now, so there's direct representation to the community, whereas some of the appointees do not have any responsibility to the community or have any way for the community to give reasonable impact or feedback. So I would also agree with appointing Dr. Duke at this time. So is there a motion?
I move that we appoint Dr. Duke Johnson to the Panhandle Health Board.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Nay.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, and I'll just make a distinction here. This is actually a recommendation for appointment. Then the 5 northern counties will vote on Kootenai County's recommended candidate, and then the ballots, I think, will be opened at their July meeting, and if he has enough support, then he will be appointed at that time. So, just clarification. Item 15, board approval request, and this is a decision regarding disposition for Humane Society building and our airport. Phil, are you on the line?
Yes, Commissioners, I am.
Great, thank you.
This is Phil Cummings for the record, and I brought this forth. I've been working with the Humane Society since I got back. They've got their new facility going, and we're discussing the responsibility for disposition of removal of the building. What I'm proposing doesn't remove their responsibility for this. The area that they are currently on leasing from the airport, or past leasing, is an area that it's in a building restriction area because of its proximity to the runway. So nothing should have been built there to begin with. So now that they've moved out and the destruction of the building, nothing will ever be built there again, or allowed to be built. And as we looked at this, typically because they are a airport tenant, we would allow disposal of concrete in our gravel pit as part of our closeout and refill. And so I looked at that, and they were discussing what their cost for removal of the building was, and I thought maybe having this discussion that to ease the burden of roughly $30,000 jackhammering out the concrete, I would opt to allow them to abandon the concrete portion of the structure in place. We could knock it down with our dozer, push it out back in the grass, and to make that area usable for anything in the future, for a taxiway, for airport development, is going to require about 4 feet to 5 feet of fill material over that area. I would just as soon allow them to leave it. We'll knock it down and we'll bury it under a foot of material and leave it as such, so future development will finish covering it up and just let them. It's all inert material. The gas is going to be pulled out from the building. The sewers, the septic, it'll be filled in. There won't be any water. No underground utilities will be left. It's just the concrete structure. So I guess I'm asking for your thoughts and concurrence on allowing me to let them abandon the concrete portion of the building in place.
Okay, thoughts?
It seems reasonable to me.
Phil, is there any value in offering it to the public to remove it? Is there any material that's valuable there, or not really?
Well, they've already been through that. I mean, they've auctioned off, and they have people that are going to remove the tin, and everybody wants everything but the concrete, and understandable being as how you've had animals living in there, and I mean, you have to understand there's a lot of urine saturation in the concrete, so it's really of no value to anybody, and it's still inert, so once it's knocked down and buried, it's no harm, no foul.
Perfect. And that's our crew that would do that, our employees?
Yeah, I come in, I got another guy that'll help me do it. We'll come in on our own time on a weekend to do it, so the county doesn't incur any overtime costs for it.
Sounds like fun. So I would take a motion.
I move that we approve the request of the decision regarding disposition for the Humane Society building in the airport.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you so much, Phil.
Thank you.
All right, item 16, board approval request. This is the response letter to Public Defense Commission, their 2022 report. Unfortunately, I don't see that you guys have the signature in the packet, the actual letter. So I sent that over to Terry on Friday. Essentially, it just was cleaned up a little bit. So I'm not sure how you want to proceed with this, since you have not seen the final letter.
Well, is it similar to the letter that I have here, or is that's something? No, that's not. It's,
No, so last week when we talked about this, I did give you the backbone of the letter. So then it was just turned into paragraphs and cleaned up a little bit. So I am totally happy to give that to you guys today, and you can read it and you can decide to sign it or not. But Dave, without that, can we still approve it and then they just go over it, because they already know the basics? Okay.
I mean, from my perspective, this is something that is more of a formality, and that, we would approve that as long as the people who are responsible for this and, will have to explain it, are fine with it. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that'd be Ann and I. So yes, but I will get that letter to you. So. Okay, so I would take a motion to approve the letter and you guys don't have to sign it if you find something disagreeable, and we can bring it back up.
I move that we approve the response letter to the Public Defense Commission for the 2022 report.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, we are on to our status update pending list. And June 26th, I believe, is the next facilities meeting with our architects and our construction company. And yes, 2 o'clock on June 26th. So any other questions? And we will have the facilities working group give a presentation at status update on Tuesday, next Tuesday at 10 a.m. So anything on facilities?
Nope.
Okay, impact fees.
As far as I'm concerned, everything's been done and they should have been sent out.
Okay. All right, and then I have an update on the immediate space need for the prosecutor. He's working with Greg in Building and Grounds to get a quote on maybe some furniture and some cubicles to expand that front lobby area to give them a couple more space for clerical staff and whatnot. So, but once again, that's probably an update in another couple weeks would be when they have all that information gathered. So, a rough estimate was thrown out today, $60,000 to make that happen. However, depending on how much we can do in-house should change that number. So, any other questions on that? All right, I will call for public comment. Anybody on the phone line for public comment? Okay, nobody on the internet and nobody in person. So 2:23, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.